only humans, and toys for our amusement.
The story picks up right where the last season left off. After Neuman enters the race for Vice President of the United States, Homelander brings his son to her campaign rally to show their support. Neuman's daughter Zoe is also a superhuman, having been injected with Compound V. After the kids go off to play, Homelander and Neuman talk about the campaign. For years, Homelander has been active in various campaigns, but Neuman doesn't care about him now because he is a murder suspect. Homelander killed someone just because they threw a plastic bottle at his son. Homelander is indifferent, believing that his trial is just a formality. He claims it was clearly self-defense, as he didn't know if the bottle might contain some kind of biochemical virus. However, once in power, Neuman shows her true colors and is ruthless.
Ladies and gentlemen, Victoria Neuman. Let's give her a round. Girls get it done in the White House.
Meanwhile, Billy's team infiltrates the event disguised as waitstaff. and Starlight handle the logistics and communication at the back, while Kimiko and Frenchie sneak into the building. Surprisingly, Billy, who doesn't have much time left to live, is assigned to stand guard downstairs.
Hey, cover our exit right here?
Oh, come off it. What's your door?
Kimiko, if Butcher steps 1 foot in that elevator, break his arm.
After Firecracker reveals some of her past secrets, Starlight feels deeply upset and distressed, seeking comfort from Huey. While waiting in the kitchen, Billy encounters Ryan and tries to convince him to leave with him.
I can get you out of here.
What are you talking about?
I know you're angry with me, and you've got every right to be. But you know how dangerous Homelander is.
He's my dad.
Although Billy tells Ryan that Homelander just killed someone, Ryan believes his father killed a bad person.
All right, and then you don't got to see me no more. It's what your mum would want.
Just as Ryan hesitates, Zoe calls Homelander over. Seeing his son's panicked expression, Homelander reassures him that nothing bad will happen today.
Big black mass curdling around your brain. What do you got, 6 months? Less? It's too bad. We're not going to have that last dance together. I'll miss us.
Bloody hell. You wait to your own voice, don't you?
Billy is mentally prepared for the worst but cannot let go of Ryan. However, Ryan's hatred for Billy remains, and he leaves the kitchen holding his father's hand, leaving Billy alone in sorrow. On the other side, Kimiko and Frenchie follow a bodyguard into Neuman's room, planning to replace her contact lens solution with a strong acid toxin, but Zoe suddenly appears and catches them. She extends 4 tentacles from her mouth, killing the bodyguard before charging at Frenchie. Luckily, Kimiko intervenes, engaging in a physical fight with Zoe. Kimiko's arm is snapped by the tentacles, but she kicks Zoe and her severed right hand away. Frenchie supports the injured Kimiko as they escape the room. Starlight instructs them to jump out of the 8th floor window, promising to catch them. However, as Kimiko breaks through the window, her arm is broken, and Starlight only manages to catch Frenchie. Kimiko crashes to the ground, turning into a bloody mess. Fortunately, her ability to regenerate quickly restores her. What they don't know is that Neuman has already found Huey, who is in charge of the evacuation, and greets him warmly. Neuman previously headed the government agency restricting mutants, and Huey was one of the members, so they had a close relationship. Learning that Zoe had also been injected with Compound V, Huey accuses her of not loving her daughter. In anger and shame, Huey throws a bottle of strong acid toxin at her, but Neuman is unharmed. Only her clothes are corroded. She proposes a truce to Huey, threatening to kill everyone he loves if he exposes her. Billy suddenly appears and shoots her in the head, but Neuman quickly recovers as if nothing happened. Seeing the election results for Indiana on her phone, she smiles and says she's going to change her clothes to celebrate becoming vice president, leaving Billy and Huey standing in place. The CIA is aware of Neuman's mutant identity and she is only a step away from becoming vice president. This operation was actually participated in by Billy and the CIA. However, the strong acid used against mutants had no effect on Neuman. Even if Starlight transformed, she might not escape being shot in the head. Are they just going to watch a mutant become vice president? At this moment, Billy, waiting outside, meets an old friend, Dean. Dean mentions that half of the CIA is now on a mission to kill Neuman, but Billy has only one goal:
He killed that
Homelander.
poor cunt in broad daylight and they cheered. I mean, what do you think that taught them, eh? We're whistling our way towards a fucking apocalypse, and Grace's eye ain't on the ball.
But you had a clean shot at him, right? With Soldier Boy. You didn't take it. Was your eye on the ball?
Why do I get the feeling we ain't just bumped into each other?
You remember the Panchir Valley?
Dean talks about the time he teamed up with Soldier Boy. He had the chance to kill Homelander but didn't take it. Failing to focus on the mission, Dean proposes teaming up with Billy against the Superhumans. His identity currently unknown, possibly from the military. On the other side, Homelander faces other troubles as well. The court case over the Square killing incident is ongoing. Vought Tower is still being rebuilt after being destroyed by Soldier Boy. Starlight publicly announces her departure from Vought, freeing herself from control. The Deep's ex-wife publishes a book exposing his activities with the Octopus. The board demands they find new candidates for the Seven, with a selection committee confirming 25 candidates. But opinions vary on the selections. A girl codenamed Sister Sage appears. A-Train says she was his classmate but was expelled within a year.
She's the world's smartest person. She's not smart enough to know when to shut her mouth.
The arguments among them give Homelander a headache.
Surrounded by sycophants and
The Deep is about to raise an objection when Homelander sends him to call A-Train. After the failed mission to eliminate Neuman, the team is somewhat disheartened, but Billy quietly finds Neuman to propose a partnership.
Shot me in the head.
I need a hand to get Ryan away from Homelander.
Is that all? Boy needs a father.
That cunt ain't no father.
And you are.
Billy is deeply touched and explains the reason for their cooperation. Homelander helping Neuman run for vice president cannot be out of goodwill. Over the next 4 years, he will pressure Neuman step by step. Neuman says she is already prepared.
Oh, you mean that nasty little virus they cooking up at Godolphin? Yeah, I know about it. And I know it ain't strong enough to kill Homelander. Yeah.
Now the CIA and the boys have mobilized all forces to hunt Neuman, so Neuman needs an ally like Billy. Neuman asks him to show some sincerity. Huey has files of her past head-exploding incidents from when they worked together and she hopes Billy can retrieve them to prevent their exposure to the media. Meanwhile, Homelander's midlife crisis is getting worse, with his hair starting to fall out. Tired, he remembers the girl codenamed Sister Sage and visits her home incognito, asking her to demonstrate her abilities. After observing Homelander, Sister Sage points out that his increased hair dyeing is to cover gray hair. She deduces his frequent bathroom visits indicate an enlarged prostate. Although Homelander has many superpowers, he is indeed aging. Seeing her abilities, Homelander confides his troubles. His lifelong dream was to reach the top of Vought, but he feels no joy upon achieving it. Homelander does not want his son to inherit this country from him. He wants to purify the world but doesn't know how. Sister Sage advises him against forming a Nazi-like superhuman army, which would be globally opposed, and tells him to learn from Caesar, controlling people from behind the scenes. Enlightened, Homelander immediately invites her to join the Seven. Sister Sage's first act after joining is to summon 3 of Homelander's fanatic fans to a warehouse.
You are some of my biggest fans, supporting me when others turn their backs. I just wanted to personally say thank you.
The 3 fans are moved to the point of tears, but as they come out, Homelander's
For your
demeanor shifts.
devotion and your sacrifice.
He then orders the Deep and others to beat these 3 people to death with baseball bats. Everyone looks at each other, thinking Homelander is joking.
It's like one of your tests. You want us to say no.
You're funny. This is not a test. I want you to beat these gentlemen to death now.
The fans realize something is wrong and try to leave, but Black Noir immediately blows one's head off. The remaining 2 are beaten to death with the bats by A-Train and the Deep. After everything is done, Homelander asks Sister Sage to handle the aftermath while he heads to court. The jury delivers a not guilty verdict on Homelander's murder charge. Outside the courthouse, supporters of Starlight and Homelander clash, leading to a fight. Starlight flies out to stop the fight from escalating, but as she pushes away some attackers, 3 brutally beaten bodies appear on the ground, and someone shouts that Starlight did it. This not only exonerates Homelander but also frames Starlight. At home, while celebrating with Ryan, his son says he doesn't want Billy to die, leaving Homelander speechless. A single sentence leaves Homelander unable to respond.
All those things he said about you. He said awful things about you. Just horrible.
My mom loved him.
What about you?
Meanwhile, Billy, while Huey is at the hospital caring for his sick father, opens his computer. Seeing Neuman's information, he suddenly has a hallucination of his deceased wife questioning whether this is how he promised to take care of Ryan. Deleting these files would be like shooting himself in the foot. Billy explains that he's always been protecting Ryan, even fighting Soldier Boy for him, but his wife reminds him that if Ryan becomes like Homelander, it will be the end of the world and urges him to find a better way. Billy then sits down and sends a picture of his butt to Neuman. Although Billy gives up his usual ruthless methods, he doesn't have much time left. The boys are once again in internal conflict because Billy still wants to use the temporary compound VMM as the new leader, kicks him out of the team. They discuss the Homelander supporters who died in the riot. They all died from blunt force trauma with no trace of superpowers. Thinks they are getting better at covering themselves, thanks to a superpower called Sister Sage. He is said to be the smartest person on Earth, and has already found out where he is staying through the CIA. He then takes Kimiko and Frenchie to the location. Meanwhile, A-Train is filming his movie under Vought's guidance, but he is filled with internal conflict. Black Noir finds him wanting to talk.
I've never actually murdered anyone before. Does Homelander make us kill people like a lot? And when he does it, we just do it?
The fake Shinsei wants to understand more about the real Shinsei's motives to play the role better, such as why he does what he does. In the newly rebuilt Vought Tower, Homelander is planning how to shape his son Ryan's public image. The marketing team creates an image of a little Homelander, but Ryan doesn't seem pleased. Sister Sage, on the side, points out that their idea is trash and suggests promoting Ryan as the first natural-born superhero, chosen by fate or God to save the world, not a freak born in a Vought lab. Hearing these familiar words, Homelander can't sit still, reminding them that Ryan's uniqueness comes from him.
He's my son. Chosen by God, sure, but, made by me.
But Sister Sage believes that the idea of a chosen one only works for heroes, and that to make Americans love Ryan, he should carry out public rescue missions.
You wanted a kingdom for your son. I'm helping you get it.
Excellent. Just as we discussed.
I'm here because Homelander wants me here. Because he trusts me.
Despite Sister Sage's intelligence, his sharp tongue makes everyone resentful. Feeling her position threatened, Ashley chases after Sister Sage. In the elevator, Ashley is reminded that even though she is the smartest person on Earth, she shouldn't speak to Homelander like that. Let me tell you the truth. You are so scared of him that you have pulled out all your hair. If I were you, I would make myself useful. Ashley is speechless. The Deep learns that Ryan is going to perform a rescue mission and wants to make an appearance to boost his popularity. Ashley takes out her anger on him.
Who think they're smart? Make me want to eat my own shit.
After she leaves, Sister Sage starts to instigate the Deep, questioning how he can let someone speak to him like that, and supports him joining the rescue. At this time, Ryan is rehearsing for the rescue mission and is starting to doubt his life as a superhero. As it doesn't align with his expectations, Homelander quickly reassures his son, saying this is to help him adapt to real rescues in the future.
We're not actually killing people in the day, am I right?
Just shut
The Deep, remembering Sister Sage's words, sees Ashley again. When she continues to mock him, the Deep steps up and says he is the Lord of the Seven Seas and threatens to drown her in her toilet if she speaks to him like that again. It feels great to stand up for himself for the first time. Meanwhile, Homelander overhears a makeup artist's comments about Ryan's skin and his own wrinkles using his super hearing. Soon, Ryan's first rescue mission begins, with many people recording the moment on their phones. Facing a gunman holding a girl hostage, Ryan descends from the sky and grabs the gunman's hand. At this moment, Homelander suddenly interrupts, shocking everyone including the Deep and Ryan. As this was not part of the rehearsal, Homelander even steals his son's thunder, ordering Ryan to throw the gunman, who ends up splattered against a distant wall. Ryan goes home crying, blaming himself for killing the actor playing the gunman.
That's what you're upset about? Accidents happen all the time, okay? Humans are fragile. Can't save them all.
But isn't that our job?
McCoy died doing what he loved.
He declares that he doesn't want to participate in any more rescues, and Homelander finally loses his patience. A-Train arrives at the boys' headquarters and hands over a memory card to Huey and Starlight. It contains surveillance footage proving that Starlight's supporters, who were convicted of murder, were actually 2 kilometers away when the 3 people died. Elsewhere, and others follow Sister Sage to a superhuman gathering, only to be surrounded by Sage and several superhumans. Sage reveals that they are CIA agents known for killing superhumans, angering the other superhumans.
And Homelander would like it if you kill them. Consider it your final audition.
Oh, I'm gonna send your ass back to China.
She's Japanese.
Kimiko confronts a female superhuman, while grabs a gun and kills two identical-looking people. Just then, the opponents start to split, creating more men to surround them. Billy appears, helping kill one of the originals, which causes the duplicates to die instantly. Back at headquarters, Billy wants to rejoin the team, hoping to use his remaining time to ensure Ryan's safety.
I can't do that alone. Please, I can't do it without you.
That little butcher.
Homelander hosts an initiation ceremony for the new members in Vought Plaza, introducing Sister Sage and Firecracker. He also mentions that the last spot is reserved for young Homelander. Ryan, Billy, now expelled from the team, meets his old friend Dean from the CIA. Dean provides him with a drug that can make superhumans temporarily unconscious. Billy decides to use it to knock out Ryan and lock him up, preferring to restrict his freedom rather than let him become another Homelander. Billy reminds Dean that his only goal is to separate Ryan from Homelander and not to train Ryan to be Homelander's opponent.
Would you train your boy up to be a killer?
Listen, brother, you don't trust me. Go back to your team. Oh, wait.
The boys watch the news, confused about why Homelander chose these two women. Sees the evidence A-Train brought and suggests turning him against Homelander. Since A-Train took this step, he must still have a conscience and could be a mole within Homelander's circle. At the press conference, Black Noir approaches Ashley with a question. It turns out he was hired from the drama department at Godalkin University and is very concerned about how well he portrays his character. At this moment, Homelander walks in, holds a meeting, and replaces Ashley with Sister Sage, kicking her out. Ashley is furious. She has worked diligently for years, losing all her hair, only to be replaced by a newcomer. Meanwhile, Billy uses a superhero online game to contact Ryan, hoping to see him one last time before he dies. On the agreed day, Billy cooks the Christmas cookies his late wife used to make and laces them with the drug. However, when Ryan arrives, he is in a bad mood and doesn't want to eat. It turns out he has been feeling guilty about accidentally killing someone last time, but Homelander told him not to care.
I get why you don't want me. I wouldn't want me either.
Billy admits that he didn't mean the harsh things he said before. He has always had a habit of pushing away those he cares about.
'Cause I'm a bad man. I ain't got no business looking after a kid.
Billy says his greatest fear before dying is not fulfilling his wife's wish to take care of Ryan. After saying this, he walks away and dumps the drug-laced cookies into the trash. At this time, Sister Sage is helping Homelander investigate who leaked the surveillance footage to Starlight, causing her to appear publicly against Homelander again. When they question a female employee responsible for the data, she admits to having contacted Starlight by phone. Homelander immediately kills her with his laser eyes, terrifying Ashley, who then goes back to her office and shreds her resignation letter. She knows too much and understands that Homelander would never let her leave. Newcomer Firecracker returns to her room and meets Starlight, revealing that they knew each other from the selection process years ago. Back then, naive Starlight, following her mother's advice, spread rumors about Firecracker having an affair with the judges, causing Firecracker to be disqualified.
I was jealous, but I'm not that person anymore. People don't change. Hell, you think you're better than everybody else. That's not true. You're damn right it's not. And all that dove, pure angel bullshit. Now I see the conniving, little mean girl in there. And when I'm done, the rest of the world's gonna see it too.
Meanwhile, and Huey are tracking Neuman at an ice rink when they suddenly see Homelander arrive with Sister Sage. They recently learned that Neuman, after being elected vice president, has been having a hard time. The government officials are very resistant to superhumans, wanting to exclude them from all government functions. Sister Sage offers to help Neuman deal with these people, in return for Neuman eliminating all books and teachers that criticize superhumans once she is in power, and enacting laws giving superhumans rights above the police. When Neuman becomes the president and moves into the White House, she can reveal her true identity to the world. At that moment, Huey, hiding in the ventilation duct, drips a drop of sweat, which attracts Homelander's attention. Homelander sniffs the air and realizes it's Huey above.
You kill Huey, his team outs me as a suit.
Good, about time.
When Homelander tries to kill the fleeing Huey with his laser eyes, Neuman blinds him with a flashlight, cutting a performing actor in half, and causing numerous casualties among the fleeing crowd. Homelander chases Huey to the balcony but finds that he has escaped, rescued by his archenemy A-Train. That night, Dean confronts Billy, accusing him of not following the plan to capture Ryan. Billy believes that given time, Ryan will choose to leave Homelander, but Dean warns that there isn't much time left.
You asked me if I could train up my boy. You're damn right I could. And if he died, I would cry at his funeral, but I would be proud of him for saving the world.
Billy reminds him that Ryan is only 12 years old, still a child.
And if he takes after his dad, either we figure out how to train him, or we figure out how to kill him.
When Ryan returns home, Homelander confronts him, smelling Billy's sin on him. Homelander, like a jealous husband discovering infidelity.
When you have everything here, you have a home, you have a father, I've given you everything that I ever wanted, and it's still not good enough for you. Why? You're ungrateful? You go behind my back, you lie to me? Why?
Tells Ryan that if he loves Billy more than him, he should go to him and call him father. Homelander's emotions finally collapse.
I don't want him to be my dad. You're my
And he hears a voice from the shattered mirror, seeing different versions of himself inside. Some accuse him of being weak and weepy, while others comfort him, saying that Ryan is his son and he can resolve the issue by talking to him. The Homelander at the top of the mirror silences the others.
It's time to overcome this need for love, this sickness, once and for all. You're never gonna be your true self until you transcend your humanity. What do? You need to go back to the start.
And Homelander's mind flashes to a laboratory scene. The scene shifts to Vaught's underground lab, where security personnel notice that the surveillance cameras upstairs have lost signal. The supervisor sees activity in the elevator and orders someone to call headquarters, but the phone lines are dead. The team surrounds the elevator, ready for action. When the elevator doors open, it's Homelander holding an ice cream cake, greeting everyone warmly. He talks about old times.
Oh my God, this is just so surreal. I never thought I'd be back here. So many memories.
Looking around and noticing that Barbara, the supervisor, is absent, he asks someone to call her to join the gathering.
Come on, don't be shy before it melts.
Everyone nervously eats the ice cream cake. Soon, Homelander calls one of them to play a waste paper basketball game, where they crumple paper into balls and throw them into the trash can. The rule is that whoever scores 3 goals first wins.
I once saw you take a shot of the wastebasket, and you nailed it. Sitting there, and, I was in this oven here, and you made the shot, you did a little fist pump to celebrate, and then you turned up the temperature to see if you could burn my skin.
If the man wins, he can leave early to see his family. Seeing Frank score another point, Homelander reminisces about the time. Despite his skin not being burned, the pain was unforgettable. He screamed in agony in the furnace, and his tears instantly vaporized. He remembers many people standing by the window taking notes, and someone from the crowd threw something into the wastebasket. That person was Frank.
I was just doing my job.
You know, I had nightmares about that exact moment, and you can't even remember it.
Before the third throw, Homelander made Frank watch him throw a paper ball. After closing the door, Homelander immediately turns on the switch, and the high temperature instantly burns Frank's skin.
And I bet you would have won. I forgive you.
The next target of Homelander's revenge is the supervisor. He mentions that the supervisor once gave him the nickname Crescent Moon Slash. Seeing the supervisor's confused look, seemingly having forgotten, Homelander takes him to the room he was often locked in during puberty. The supervisor found him there once and gave him that nickname, even bringing a group of people to watch and laugh at him.
Hey, guys, come on over here. Yeah, we're all gonna laugh at you. That way, you will know how it feels, and I think I'm gonna feel better.
The supervisor apologizes repeatedly but still succumbs to Homelander's actions. Just as Homelander is mocking the supervisor, Barbara finally arrives. Barbara wants to talk privately with Homelander, but he insists on discussing it in the Red Room where he was confined. Barbara explains that everyone was just following Vought's orders and that they were very scared.
I was there the day that you were born. They paid some poor runaway $2,000 to carry the embryo to term. But you lasered her guts open from the inside. You rose in the air with your umbilical cord still attached like some creature out of myth. You killed 3 doctors and a nurse while you were at it, and then, just trust me, it was downhill from there, so...
She says young Homelander was stronger than anyone there and could leave any time, but he didn't because he couldn't bear the thought of disappointing everyone.
Your need for approval and for love? Vought brought in the best psychologists in the world. They developed the protocol to carefully engineer that need so that you would be obedient. In many ways, that was our greatest success.
Homelander says he doesn't need that anymore, but Barbara replies that no matter what he does to the employees there, she will stand by him.
I'm not human, and neither is my son. And I'm gonna raise him so that he knows it.
A few minutes later, Barbara is alone in the metal room, surrounded by the dismembered remains of other experimenters. Homelander, covered in blood, smiles as he takes the elevator to leave. Rubber Band Man uses his flexible body to nearly strangle Billy to death. Suffocating, Billy has a vision of his deceased wife. At that moment, the parasite inside Billy senses its host is dying, and in a burst of energy, Billy explodes Rubber Band Man into pieces. Looking at the scattered remains, Billy doesn't understand what happened. A day earlier, Billy, while taking a shower at home, felt something wriggling under his skin on his back. He suddenly blacked out. Billy knows his time is short, but Ryan being with Homelander makes him anxious. Meanwhile, Huey's father is terminally ill and in a vegetative state. Huey's mother and doctors suggest ceasing all interventions to let him pass peacefully, but Huey can't accept it. Starlight meets with an anti-superhuman government official, who has already exposed the truth about Godalkin University. However, Starlight feels it's not enough to destroy Vought, whose influence has infiltrated military and government institutions for years. She offers to use her popularity to help in exchange for a promise.
Promise me you'll finish what you started. Once and for all, we put Vought into the ground.
Returning to Starlight's home, she sees that Vought has set up a stage in the plaza opposite her place. This is Sister Sage's revenge plan for Firecracker, exposing Starlight's scandals from childhood and labeling her an arrogant feminist. M brings Billy back, believing only he can fight fire with fire. Huey meets with A-Train.
Sage is on my ass, stares at me like I'm You thought this was a good time to be seen together?
I need a dose of Compound V, and I need it today.
Who reveals that Homelander has locked all Compound V in his apartment, making it impossible to access. A-Train feels it's too dangerous to help, but Huey reminds him that everything happening to him started with A-Train.
It all started with you! Now you're gonna give someone I love back, because you took away someone I loved. My dad's about to die. V's the only thing that can save him.
After A-Train leaves, Huey and Imum are attacked. After a fierce battle, Kimiko is blown in half by a grenade launcher. Huey narrowly escapes death and manages to defeat the enemy. As they step outside, Huey sees that Kimiko has already recovered. The enemy, who turns out to be Japanese, glares at Kimiko with hatred. It turns out Kimiko had once brought him into the gang, forcing him to choose between fighting or dying. Meanwhile, Billy and Imum find Firecracker backstage and threaten to expose her dirty secrets from when she was 28 if she doesn't stop the live broadcast. However, they underestimate Firecracker's hatred for Starlight. She hits the send button, exposing her own dirty secrets, and then goes on stage to make an emotional confession. She proceeds to reveal Starlight's secrets, including how Starlight, at age 13, blinded an innocent mother while stopping a robber. Starlight smiled for the cameras as if nothing had happened.
Starlight's no hero. She never was.
Seeing the crowd's judgmental stares, Starlight quickly explains that she was young and still learning to control her powers, but the damage was done. Billy, having stolen Firecracker's RV keys, gives them to Frenchie to investigate further. Upset, Starlight locks herself in her room. Firecracker somehow obtains her medical records and reveals that Starlight had an abortion at 4 weeks, branding her a baby killer. Starlight, unable to hold back, flies onto the stage and beats Firecracker in front of the live broadcast. Exactly what Sister Sage wanted. Meanwhile, Frenchie and Billy encounter Rubber Band Man in Firecracker's RV. After Frenchie is injured, Billy uses a fire extinguisher to sever Rubber Band Man's right hand but finds himself being strangled. At the critical moment, Billy's latent power explodes, tearing Rubber Band Man to pieces. The Deep and Sister Sage are together, and the bloody screwdriver finally solves the mystery. Sister Sage's brain is different from normal people and continuously regenerates, so she needs to be killed periodically. The Deep initially refuses but agrees when Sister Sage promises him some pleasure. He inserts a metal rod into her eye and hammers it in, both getting what they want. After Starlight's live broadcast fight, the anti-superhuman alliance she had found abandons her, wanting nothing more to do with her. Meanwhile, A-Train sneaks into Homelander's room to find Compound V and discovers some bizarre items. Ashley walks out of the bathroom, and A-Train notices she seems nervous. Upon checking, he finds that Ashley had just used the toilet.
Clap back that I have ever seen.
If Homelander knew you took that V, he would flay you alive.
What do we do about it?
That night, A-Train gives the Compound V to Huey, and they finally reconcile. Billy, witnessing this, doesn't want Huey to inject his father with the substance, warning that it might make things worse. Huey, however, is desperate to save his father and offers to give Billy some to cure his brain tumor.
I already took some. Nicked it out of Frenchie's desk 4 months ago.
Instead of gaining superpowers, it accelerates his death. Billy is left perplexed and worried that injecting Huey's father could have dire consequences. Sister Sage, after joining Homelander, relentlessly defeats the boys. Billy, desperate, seeks Dean's help again, planning to use the virus from Godalkin University. Dean doubts the team's competence, with him on the verge of collapse. Frenchie being an addict, Huey being cowardly, and Starlight and Kimiko being ineffective. Billy argues that while Starlight has issues, Kimiko is a useful weapon, and the rest of the team can still be valuable.
Brother, I don't get you. I don't. Half your brain is a tumor. This is your last shot at Homelander, and now you decide to go soft. They are decent people, but you and me, we don't belong with decent.
M asks how Billy defeated Rubber Band Man, and Billy admits he doesn't know. He blacked out, and when he woke up, Rubber Band Man was dead. Despite this, Billy reveals he has found a virus capable of killing superhumans, originating from Godalkin University. This virus attaches to the superhuman blood in Compound V, harmless to humans but deadly to superhumans.
So you shove this shit into me and Kimiko and we just drop dead?
Yep, that's the idea. Now, it ain't just enough to kill Homelander. I reckon we get our hands on some and try it out on a lovely VP.
M questions why Billy hadn't mentioned this before. Billy explains that Neuman got to the university first, so they need to retrieve the virus from her. Billy instructs him to obtain a presidential pardon and then find Stan, who is imprisoned. Billy offers Stan freedom in exchange for helping retrieve the virus from Neuman. Stan, however, says he has always treated Neuman like a daughter, teaching her survival of the fittest, so he doesn't resent her. As Stan turns to leave, Billy mentions that Neuman's daughter has also become a monster.
You didn't know. She shot up sweet little Zoe full of V, turned her into a tentacle-mouthed nightmare. Exonerated. How about we get you out of here? And throw in custody of Zoe.
Stan, out of prison, leads the team to a farm in the western suburbs. The house is empty, but blood is everywhere. They find the basement converted into a lab. In chaos with broken Compound V vials, Billy sees a rabbit in a cage being injected with a green serum and, remembering his own experience, removes the needle and frees the rabbit. Kimiko is surprised at Billy's patience. Just then, Frenchie makes a discovery. Suddenly, everyone's noses start bleeding. Neuman has arrived. She had been watching Stan in prison and knew when he was released. Stan accuses her of turning his recreation room into a virology lab. Neuman blames him for bringing the boys here, who want to kill her. Both sides agree to a truce to find the virus first. Stan deduces Neuman is trying to find a way to control Homelander.
He's a Freudian cesspool. Random impulse and deep insecurity. There's no one who can control that.
He criticizes her for injecting her daughter with Compound V, but Neuman believes it protects Zoe. She recalls how Stan used her like others, hiding her true identity, and she wants to change everything so her daughter doesn't end up like her. Meanwhile, Billy thinks about how to deal with Neuman once they find the virus. Following the blood trail, they reach a chicken coop and find the lab owner dead with several eggs in his abdominal wound. Suddenly, a bodyguard's chest explodes. Frenchie fires repeatedly, but the chicken is unharmed. The dim light prevents Starlight from using her powers. More super chickens appear, throwing the group into chaos. In a critical moment, Neuman saves Stan's life, and Billy orders everyone to escape. Neuman is shocked. She didn't know the chickens had been injected with Compound V. Amid the argument, Neuman mentions Billy had approached her for a deal, shaking the team's trust in him. Stan watches them bicker. Later, Billy sees the rabbit he freed growing tentacles. Reflecting on his own condition, he suspects this is the final result of injecting Compound V. Billy grimly ends the rabbit's life. The group continues searching the farm for the missing doctor. A bull breaks through the fence, and before they can react, it's torn apart by a creature. M's scream draws its attention, and it charges, tearing a slow-reacting bodyguard to pieces. The remaining members run into a barn, where they find Dr. Samir hiding. Through Neuman's conversation, they learn he is Zoe's father. Stan treats Samir coldly, once the top researcher at Vought, but was fired for his affair with Neuman. Samir explains the chaos. During an experiment, a hamster injected with Compound V overturned the serum, contaminating the groundwater and affecting the animals. The virus remains only in the hamster's body. Hearing the virus spreads through bodily fluids, suggests injecting it into an assistant's corpse to use as bait for the flying creatures.
They would eat him.
Billy and Neuman propose escaping with the virus, but those who run slowly will die. After discussion, they follow Neuman's plan, injecting the virus into the corpse and throwing it out.
How long did you say it takes for the virus to kick in?
It's been different every time.
The flying sheep attack the roof, and two break in. They open the door and scatter, surrounded by the creatures. Luckily, the virus takes effect, killing the sheep. After the crisis, Neuman realizes Samir is missing. Police find his leg nearby. Stan didn't help obtain the virus, nullifying their deal. Orders him back to prison, but on the way, the driver's head explodes, and Neuman rescues Stan. Meanwhile, Billy and Dean find a hidden room in the barn, where Billy had cut off Samir's leg and captured him. Billy promises treatment to restore his health.
What work? You're gonna make us some more of that virus.
After killing the scientists who tortured him, Homelander's split personality isn't resolved. Haunted by childhood memories, the Vought Expo is packed with his supporters. A-Train's movie, depicting his relationship with his mentor, is about to premiere. The Deep, having leaked a video, loses his crime analysis job and a new show role. Envying A-Train, young Homelander Ryan is preparing for a youth-focused movie but questions the need for superheroes in films. Homelander tries to be a good father.
I've been manipulated by people my whole life. Being told what to say, where to stand, it's like being a slave, only worse.
Realizing he's repeating the same mistakes with Ryan, he promises to stop. Backstage, they see a director harassing an assistant, and with Homelander's support, Ryan makes the director kneel and apologize. Unimpressed, Ryan has the assistant slap the director, savoring the power. Meanwhile, the host argues with Ashley, who lost her power. Ashley can be a slave, but the master must wield true power. Firecracker, realizing she's been used by Sister Sage, seeks revenge.
But hey, now you don't have to play a victim. You can really be one.
Y'all just think I'm stupid, poor white trash. Underestimate me all you want. Makes that much easier to stick shit in your back.
Huey's father wakes from his vegetative state after injecting Compound V but has memory issues. Huey and his mother return from the bathroom to find him missing. They find him holding a heart, with a dead body on the floor. Shocked, Huey's father says he doesn't know what happened. A nurse sees the bloody scene and screams, causing Huey's father to phase through a wall. Huey realizes his father has the same phasing power from Compound V. His father phases into a patient, splitting them in two. When Huey and his mother find him again, he's regressed to Huey's childhood, promising to take him to Vaught's store for a toy, recalling when Huey's mother left them. Upon seeing his wife nearby, Huey's father immediately becomes furious and confronts her. At this moment, a security guard arrives with a gun, pointing it at Huey's father and attempting to capture him. Huey's father uses his powers to rip the guard's heart out. Huey takes his mother to the medication room, trying to find some sedatives for his father. Soon, his father phases through the wall, seeking revenge on his mother. In a critical moment, Huey stands in front of his father, using childhood memories to awaken him. His father comes to his senses and tearfully says he doesn't know what happened to him. Huey ultimately decides to help his father find peace. His father reminisces about their happy times together before slowly passing away. Meanwhile, inside Vought Tower, Homelander gathers all his superhumans. He believes the country is corrupt beyond repair and must be saved. He tells them they need to save America for the sake of future generations, and they must do whatever it takes, even if it means committing terrible acts for a greater cause. The group's responses please Homelander. The Deep then brings in a man, claiming he has communications records with the TV station on his phone, proving he leaked the video. The host denies it, saying he was framed. In reality, A-Train stole the video and gave it to Huey, with the help of Ashley, whom he had previously discarded. Billy, after cutting off Samir's leg, orders him to continue researching the virus and lists everything needed to extract it. When Samir refuses, Billy grabs his broken leg.
Could just send you back to them in a bucket. You don't do whatever we said.
Suddenly, Billy coughs violently, realizing his time is running out, and gives Samir a week to create a potent virus to kill Homelander. Elsewhere, after Ashley uses the host as a scapegoat and kills him, A-Train becomes anxious and doesn't want to be a dangerous informant anymore. M reassures him, stabilizing his emotions, and learns that Homelander is gathering superhumans to start a war. A-Train doesn't know the specifics but saw Sister Sage and Tech Knight discussing something secretly. They plan to get information from Tech Knight, who is hosting a Federalist society party at his mansion tonight. This task is challenging because Tech Knight has superhuman senses. M finds an online webweaver who previously collaborated with Billy. The webweaver is a drug addict and, surprisingly, is on the party list. M knocks him out, and Huey dons the webweaver's outfit to impersonate him. They don't anticipate that Homelander also arrives at the party with several others. Tech Knight, unlike these grassroots heroes, owns private prisons across America and is a billionaire, subtly mocking A-Train. Upon entering the mansion, Huey is invited by the butler to meet Tech Knight. While installing a bug, Huey encounters Neuman. Fortunately, the webweaver's unwashed outfit repels Neuman and evades Tech Knight's super sense of smell. Tech Knight enthusiastically brings Huey to his study, activating a hidden elevator in the bookshelf that takes them to an underground tech cave. He introduces his butler, who raised him after his parents died, and reveals a man in a red jumpsuit chained nearby, his former partner who betrayed him. After Huey loses contact with the boys, Starlight, M, and Kimiko decide to infiltrate the party to rescue him. Meanwhile, Neuman, uncomfortable with the politicians, vents to Sister Sage, who comforts her by sharing her own story of being dismissed by doctors after curing her grandmother's cancer as a child.
I could cure cancer, reverse global warming, but what's the point? And because them all.
In the basement, Tech Knight puts a chocolate cake in front of Huey, suspends himself in the air, and demands Huey sit on the cake and pass gas into it. Reluctantly, Huey complies to maintain his cover. Ashley joins in, tickling Huey's feet with a feather, making him laugh and cry. Huey, unaware of the safe word, endures until Ashley leaves, thinking it's over. However, Tech Knight uses his detective abilities to detect something off about Huey and uncovers his identity.
Wait a minute.
Simultaneously, and Kimiko reach the study upstairs. M shoots Sister Sage in the head after her provocations, collapsing from a heart attack. Kimiko asks A-Train to take him to the hospital, while she and Starlight use the elevator to reach the tech cave. Discovering Tech Knight torturing Huey, Kimiko restrains Tech Knight, who enjoys the pain, revealing his masochistic tendencies. A man in a red jumpsuit escapes and starts transferring Tech Knight's wealth to charities using retinal scans. Enraging Tech Knight, he divulges his plan with Homelander to use his private prisons to detain opposing politicians, revealing Homelander's intention to start a coup. Tech Knight's butler strangles him as Huey's group escapes via the elevator. Sister Sage's body is gone when they return. Homelander questions her about the missing people, but Sister Sage, with a hole in her head, only focuses on eating, leaving Homelander frustrated with his useless subordinates. Homelander gathers wealthy elites and politicians, proposing they overthrow the current U.S. government. Unsure of the details, the plan falters until Neuman pledges support.
Truth is, America's not a democracy. The word democracy makes people feel safe. But the founders never trusted the masses because the truth is the masses are stupid. Anyone who owns a live, laugh, love mug shouldn't have a say in how a country is run.
Promising unrestricted corporate operations if they back her presidential bid, securing their support and leaving Homelander frustrated. At Vought Tower, Black Noir removes his mask. Tired of being left behind while Homelander tackles major issues, he decides to quit and return to performing at the circus. The two comrades in adversity began to share their woes. Although Firecracker joined the Seven, no one took her seriously. At the party, she was crying in the bathroom and accidentally ran into Starlight.
I'm sorry. Don't go trying to apologize to me. I am so sorry.
The next day, when Firecracker woke up and returned to Vought, she was confronted by Homelander. He knew Tech Knight was dead, and it was probably Starlight's group who did it.
How do you think they knew about the party?
Cameron Coleman wasn't the leak.
So either Sage was lying to you, or she's as useless as tits on a mouse.